What's going on, guys? It's Monday. It's the grind. Actually, today was actually a pretty good day, I gotta say. What's going on, Transitory? Gotta say, quite the name. Let some people trickle in. We'll get started here shortly. Let's take a peep at something real quick. Fire. All right, but what's going on, guys? What's going on? Today was quite the interesting day. We had that beautiful little dip opportunity. I think we could say, yeah. Why did I put that in replay mode? We had quite the dip by entry here today. I know that you pretty much heard Sig Dapper. We even had the glance of the famous Dougie that came on live and pretty much told you that he was bullish also on SPY. I know that he's also been in Apple calls as well. So definitely a solid day. Hopefully you guys got some great call outs from the guys on live. I know that I was pretty much on top of on AMD as well. So hopefully you guys made some money today. Hopefully you got some good call outs. I know that this market is starting to feel like it's just so extended. How many more days do we have green until we really get some kind of, red price action here in which bears really start to feast, if you want to say that? But it's definitely been quite the ride that we've had. The other factor also, if you heard, pretty much I asked, and I know Dapper also mentioned it, is that the relative volume right now overall on SPY is also pretty low. Right now, I think today was trading roughly in the mid 30 percentile towards relative volume. So something that's pretty much alarming. The other factor was also the fact that the VIX has actually just went under 20 today. So that was pretty much a major break as well. The VIX going under the 20 mark. So that's something that we want to keep an eye on going into tomorrow. See if we get a continuation on that quote unquote VIX crush. And we'll want to see if there's any continuation on that. The other factor was that I'm still watching, keeping an eye on the 10-year bond yield. That's going to start to be more so of an issue once we start to push back north of that 2.55 mark. And then we'll maybe see if the market kind of reacts to that, pretty much escalating and getting higher right now. It's currently about 2.45. So the 10-year bond yield is going to be something that I watch if we get another zero point 0.10 points on that. And we'll see if there's any kind of market reaction off of that as well. So that's something that's pretty much another highlight on top of the VIX. The other factor that I'm pretty much keeping an eye on going into tomorrow now is again, we've already had about 10, 11 days of just green price action off of Tesla and Apple, and that's really been where all the momentum has been carrying us right now. That's entirely where, even when you saw overall broader market weakness, it's been Apple and Tesla that's been carrying us all this time. So that's something that I'm also going to keep on watch as well. The other factor was that we had already seen Bitcoin pretty much just quite the strength here. I think it's pushing about 49K right now on Bitcoin. So that's something that's also going to be on watch tomorrow. I know that Avery was pretty much all over Coin and Mara calls today. So he was pretty much walking everyone through that. So that's something that we're going to keep on watch as well. And then the other alarming sign that I know that Sig mentioned on live is that we have all the meme stocks running right now. So your Bed Bath and Beyond, your AMC, your GameStop. I think there was also the other ticker, the Clove. That's one that's also been a little of a meme stock as well. So quite the oddball right now in which SPY is just steamrolling. Bitcoin's also just gained this momentum right now. And then we also have the meme stocks running. And with the 10-year bond yield and the VIX pretty much as a side factor there, in which we want to keep eyes on that. A lot of things right now are just pretty much at its toes, in which this feels like it's its last breath. Now, does that mean that today is its last breath? No, it doesn't. But those are all the alarming signs that we're getting right now, in which you're getting to that exhaustion point, is really what's the bigger picture here. All right. So, especially those of you that maybe have outdated calls, maybe you pretty much already anticipated this ahead of time and you already realized that, you've just been holding calls all these days. This is the alarming part in which you really want to start to lock in profits right now, in which all the alarming signs are just triggering all at once between the Bitcoin, the memes, the 10-year bond yield holding and escalating day after day. this is where you really want to start taking your profits and pretty much keeping your smaller position sizes, because then it's going to be a matter of just that day that you wake up and you're going to see the market pretty much maybe melt down, maybe it's just slightly red. But that's the factor in which we're watching more so Apple and Tesla. Where is going to be that first day in which we're going to see this green streak just end? And that's what I'll be more so keeping an eye on. As I pretty much jump right into my SPY chart, and as I continue to watch this just escalate and steamroll, is that we got to that 456 mark today. We literally tapped it. If we do get continuation or any kind of gap up tomorrow, then I'm watching 458, about 458 half close enough is where our current supply is sitting at right now. If we really want to top out, I think then we can likely push about 459, 460 would be more so my top range is that 416 mark. But that would likely be pushing it tomorrow, which we'll see the market give us that last breath maybe tomorrow, and we rally those additional 3 points to make SPY go push to 460. That'll be something that I'll keep a watch on tomorrow. Otherwise, if we do see any kind of reversal here, then obviously 452 is that first mark that I'm looking at. That was a prior resistance support level, and also a level that we pretty much had to top off from Friday's high. So that's the mark I'll be watching, 452. Because if we start to lose momentum here off of today's price action, 452 is gonna come rather fast. So I'll watch that. But top end 460. First level of support is gonna be that 452. We lose 452, then I'm watching 449 below that. All right. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for that. Just some names that just cross my attention in terms of maybe my daily watchers going into the start of the week here so far. One is Amazon. I saw calls going out for the 3400 strike. As you see, we pretty much are just within distance of that. About another 20 points here on Amazon, and we're likely going to smack our head on that 3400 mark. My current supply is pretty much sitting between that 3408 level up towards 3423. That's where I'll be watching to see in terms of maybe we have still more momentum tomorrow. Maybe that'll be the point in which I get into some calls to take it right into supply zone. Otherwise, if we end up rejecting the supply at that 3408, then I'll know that we're going to get a reversal in which we potentially give up all the gains that we ended up having from today, and then we can pretty much sit at support, which I'm looking at is towards 3277. So that's what I'll be watching for Amazon. I think what's more important is that supply level as you're watching that 3408 up towards that 3424 mark is what I'll be keeping an eye on tomorrow. All right, but definitely strong momentum here today on this one. It felt like it was kind of consolidating intraday, and we just saw that beautiful push right after the lunch hour, and that was just a great rally ahead into the close. All right. Another one caught my attention also was Facebook. Facebook was another one. As we saw, if we remember, we had that massive gap down. So you see the yellow anchor VWAP right now. That's pretty much sitting as a prior resistance that we had. That's sitting as my support right now in confluence between that 215, 216 level. If we do see any pullbacks, that's the level of support that I'm watching, is that 215, 216 mark. And I'm looking to see if we can get over this Friday high of 225.50, and we could see this really start to push towards 230. As you see, that was prior support, resistance before we had that major distribution to make a low. All right. So if we can get over 225 half, then we'll likely see it start to push 230, and that could be entirely possible to make a push towards getting that move towards the gap fill entirely also. All right. One quick second, guys. Hmm. Interesting. Just trying to figure out something real quick. That is quite odd here. Give me one quick second, guys. My bad. All right, my bad, guys. So getting back to that again, over 225 half. I'm watching 230 calls tomorrow. We could likely see this one follow suit behind Amazon. So despite the fact that maybe we could see Apple or Tesla 10-day, 11-day green rally end, we could see Amazon continue to push this and maybe Facebook follow suit. So this is one that I'll definitely keep an eye on going into tomorrow. Google's not really on my radar too much. If there's really any kind of momentum here tomorrow by pre-market, then we'll likely say that at open. The other one was pretty much Apple. Of course, we're watching to see if Apple ends that streak. So I'll be watching to see prior top formations that you pretty much see I highlighted right now. You have these little golden zones, if you want to say little yellow boxes right now. We're going to look to see if we put in that last high tomorrow pretty much. If that's the case and we extend this rally going into tomorrow, are we going to get that top formation going into tomorrow, in which then we get a retest of this wedge that we have off of the daily here. So we could end up making a push. My top end that I'm watching is towards that 176.80 mark. That's pretty much what I'm looking at, 176.80. So about roughly about $1 from where we closed at right now. And then that'll be where I look to see if we fade this entire move from today's price action on Apple, and then we get continued downside towards retesting that wedge breakout. In which case we can come down as low as that 167.5, and that'll be what I'll be looking to play out for. So that's something that keeps I'm keeping in mind. I know that Sig also had some lottos that he posted. Maybe you guys saw it. Maybe you didn't. I think he was looking at 170 puts for this week. I think they're maybe about like 55 cents or so into the close there. So that's something that he took as a hedge. I think I completely like it. Granted, the fact that it's already been about 10, 11 days of just straight green. I love the hedge. I love the potential that it ends up having. Uh, Granted, the fact that if you end up getting that top tomorrow, then we could see that beautiful push to the downside here. And those 170s actually have a realistic chance of going in the money by the end of the week. So that's something that keep in mind. I actually grabbed, I think the 175 just to be a little bit more on the safe side. And that's something I'm actually holding, and we'll see what ends up happening tomorrow. All right. So that's one keeping on the radar. I didn't pay attention too much to Microsoft. I didn't even actually look too much into my chart today. But the only thing that I pretty much take off, because I haven't changed anything on this chart at all, is the fact that it actually broke the anchored VWAP that we had from the prior high from November 22nd, in which we made that high of 350 there. It's actually broke that anchored VWAP there at 308.20, and that was a beautiful $2 push that you had above that anchored VWAP. So we'll look to see if we end up retesting that anchored VWAP here tomorrow. If we retest that 308.20, and we'll look to see if that ends up holding, and we can make a further push towards 312. That was the next level I was watching, is 312 off of this. So if we can hold at 308, we can see continuation up towards 312. Otherwise, if we lose 308 here, then we could see this really start to escalate to the downside, and we could retest that 303 mark, 304. All right. So that's another one to keep an eye. We already saw the AMD. I pretty much was just posting this one all morning. This is literally the one trade I took all day until I ended up taking the Apple Lottos for this week. But AMD was just a picture perfect setup right now. Looking off the daily, you pretty much see the well defined downtrend resistance that we have. So watching to see if there's any continuation of its beautiful trendline support. We'll see this continuation up towards 128. That'll be where we end up hitting right into the downtrend resistance. So I'm looking to see, as long as we hold this trendline support here, we're able to manage to hold this 117 mark, then we'll end up seeing if there's continuation tomorrow to make a solid push towards that 128 into the downtrend resistance. All right. So hopefully those of you that pretty much followed me on this one, I did say to get it under 117 today when I posted it in ideas, and that pretty much already gave you about a $3 move. So that was a pretty much a beautiful textbook move off of that. That was just insanely crazy and pretty much clean. So once I ended up getting it to AMD and I got that $3 push, I didn't even feel the need to really get into anything else or really try and force the situation. I literally just took my profits off AMD and I was pretty much just chilling until the end of the day, in which I decided to take the Apple put lottos. All right. Other than that, I think that's pretty much what I was watching overall. Tesla, of course, is always on watch. If we really want to stretch on Tesla tomorrow, we could see this pretty much take out the high of the day, that 1097.88. Of course, everyone wants to see those 1100 calls go in the money. So that's pretty much what they stopped you shy of. If we get that push over that 1100 mark, then I do have my supply zone pretty much sitting 1105 up towards 1115. That is that we have. I currently have as my supply zone. So That's what I'll be watching to see off of that. I know that someone in the beer den pretty much took some Tesla shorts. This one is pretty much a steamroller because this will literally probably destroy you. Just granted the fact that we know how much Tesla moves, and granted the fact that now it's also news based. That's why I chose to pretty much avoid Tesla and really trying to get a reversal off of this. I will wait for it to give me that confirmation of the reversal before I step in front of this freight train. That's really not what I'm trying to do. So I think if I was to give you some kind of advice here right now, do not try to step in front of a freight train like Tesla right now, especially granted the fact that it's so based on news right now after we had such that a massive gap up this morning. So wait for it to give you that confirmation. I think if you get price action here under this 1076 mark, then we'll likely start to see this really roll over and we'll see the selling pressure really start to add. But as long as we hold this 1076, I want to say even close to 1075, I think you stay clear and likely look for the upside rather than trying to force the downside price action. All right. But I think that's pretty much what I actually had on the watch list right now. I don't think I have anything crazy. As far as newsletter plays, Starbucks made a solid move on price action today. That was definitely a good one. The other one that's pretty much continuing to consolidate is just Penn. That was the other one. So we'll look to see what they end up doing. And I'll give an update on that tomorrow as it pretty much presents itself. But other than that, that was all I was watching today. So hopefully gives you a better idea on terms of price action, some levels that we're watching, but basically just taking it day by day right now. Again, all the alarming signs are there right now. The bond yield, the meme stocks, the VIX right now, a lot of different things, even with Bitcoin pretty much pumping. Let's see what's really going to be that sign in which we roll over, and then you can just top that off with the whole Ukraine and Russia headlines that are coming out left and right now. So that's just something to keep on watch. A lot of different alarming signs right now is what I would say for a better term right now. Just keep a watch on all of those different headlines. See how the meme stocks continue to just push. Keep an eye out on the morning. See if the 10-year bond yield is going to continue to push before open tomorrow. Maybe we'll see if that gives us another boost. If that gets over that 2.55 mark, then you want to be alarmed about that. See how the market reacts when you get to that point. See if the VIX is able to reclaim that 20 mark tomorrow. That'll be another sign here come tomorrow morning. So different things you basically want to keep up with to see how the market's going to probably react once they hit those certain marks. All right. But other than that, hopefully that kind of helps you guys. That'll wrap it up. But again, as you pretty much said, we're crypto. As far as crypto stocks, it's usually basically you're looking at Mara, you're looking at Right, and you're looking at Coin, by the way. So those are pretty much the ones that you're looking at. In terms of that, you're basically looking Coin, Mara, and Riot. If Bitcoin continues to rally, those will be the three names that you're gonna see the volume continue to watch on. I actually just touched on a few of the cues right now. I mean, Amazon I said had upside, Facebook has upside. Apple can really stretch about another dollar or so before we likely see some kind of top formation going into tomorrow. I touched bases on Microsoft as well, in which case I gave you the bull case and bull and bear case tomorrow, and then Tesla, of course, we'll see if the rally ends as well. So, I pretty much went over the cues. Hopefully, you caught that transitory. I would hope. But that kind of wraps up the session here today, guys. Hopefully, that was a better insight on what we're watching. But other than that, that wraps it up. I will see you guys on live tomorrow morning, and I'm out. Later, guys.